and end up, out of water with two of the fastest guys in the country behind me. So it was kind of more, I just noticed them sliding back. I kind of cranked up the intensity like a little bit just to sort of test them out. And when I ended up in front, I kind of had to just, commit to it at that point, and it ended up working out. And I knew I wasn't going to be home clean because every one of us was out there going for team points. And Nico Young put an absolutely amazing push at the end because, I knew it was hurting at that point. And so there I was just trying to get the job done, make sure I could keep him, behind me down the home stretch and stay on top of my legs.
What was your strategy coming in, and how did what the NAU guys did affect that?
So it affected it by essentially throwing everything I thought was going to happen out the window immediately. I was really looking at guys like Alex Meyer, who made me hurt earlier in the season, on this exact course, someone who's drilled this course over and over and over again. But it made it, exactly the race I would have hoped for, where, I prefer to run strong, I prefer to run aggressive, and just kind of keep a really high intensity over the whole race. And so they kind of allowed me to just run that race I love to run, where we're just going for it. We're seeing who has more fitness, who's done more miles and who wants it more. And I think all three of us wanted it equally, but I think I ended up, just getting it on the day.
You ran like 40 seconds faster than Vance did when you won on this course a couple of years ago.
That's
do you
insane.
think you could have like 28:43 on this course? Do you think that was possible coming in?
Oh, absolutely not. And I also thought that if you go out like that, there's no way you're finishing the second lap. Because it's actually really funny. If you go back and look at my race back in 2021, this race was extremely similar, where I lodged myself in sort of an NAU diamond back in 2021, and I just got spat out the back after 5K because I went out way too hard and was able to hold it through 14th because everyone was dying. But this race was very similar. NAU was running it, and I think, they ended up, did they win in 2021? Yeah, so I think they knew that was sort of a tactic that would help them. And so, in the middle of the race, I was like, oh, I kind of know why they're doing this. It makes sense, and my legs feel good. But I think that I've come a long way since I was a freshman, and I don't think I'm going to get spat out the back of this pack. And I could stay connected. I didn't have to overextend myself, and ended up winning the race.
Why do you think this race went much faster than others in the past? Was it the weather, or
I can't
push?
think that the weather would have contributed much, just because, I guess it was pretty hot in March. I know it was a little bit of a sweaty race. I think it's just such an exceptionally unique course that having guys run it before really helps you manage your sort of expectations and how you go out. Because I think we went out in like a 2:31 in 2021. It's like 4 flat pace because of Kit 2. And so I think a lot of guys just exploded and died back in 2021, myself absolutely included. But I really, I'm going to have to sit down and think about it because I don't know how we ran that fast. It's really unbelievable. But I think it was just, it was team. It was every single guy was up there trying to win it for their team. And when you're trying to do that, amazing things happen.
You guys don't have any, there are no other courses like this in the NCAAs. Did you guys need to do anything like specifically to prepare for this kind of course? Like
A lot of hills, man.
Yeah.
We ran a lot of hills. So we have this place out called Baylands. That's we run on top of this hill that goes up and down and up and down, and we slam fast miles. I know, at one point we had all our guys finishing up like a 6 mile workout in like the 420s on a mile repeat over the hills. So we were just getting stronger, running fast. A lot of us like to do our long runs pretty fast over a very up and down technical long run on this other side of this road called Cañada out in Palo Alto. But yeah, it's just Ricardo Santos preparing us extremely well, making sure we get a lot of volume in. And, we had some things happen at the end of the season that made this race a little bit tougher, but I know every single one of us gave our best shot on the day.
You got beat at Nutty Cone. You got beat when this race was here back in September. How did you time your peak confidently that you were running your best race at the end of the season?
Yeah, have a good half of timing your peak is confidence. I want to shout out Ben Foltz, my good friend that I trained with a lot over summers. He told me that he saw the way I was running mileage, and he's like, guys are just going to kick your ass, when you start off the year. But you're going to get better. And, Coach Santos said the same thing. He's like, we'll get it when we need it. We'll get it when we need it. And so, over those races at the beginning of the season, I was running about 105 miles, during those race weeks, and just had to stay with the belief that when we start coming down, my legs are going to feel fresher. And then that's the second half, is just technically executing it. I didn't miss a mile since this past June, and I just had an extremely good base to build off of and to cut down off of. And then, in this postseason, I think you kind of saw it at Pac-12s, and maybe you would have seen it at regionals. My legs just started feeling so much better. It just felt lighter. They weren't burning as much during the races. And I think that's just what good training feels like.
Did Drew being up there surprise you, and how familiar?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Drew being up there, it surprised me in a sense that we were running faster, than I felt comfortable with at the beginning. And I know Drew is an exceptional athlete, but he hasn't always been up there over the past year or so. If you look back to his freshman year, he was absolutely phenomenal, and he and I raced a lot in high school too. But on the other hand, it didn't surprise me because I know that Drew's a really great guy. We met at Brooks, and he's always been super nice to me, and I know that he really cares about his team. And I knew he was sort of sacrificing what would probably be a lot of pain for him to put his team in the best position to win. And so I had a lot of respect for that when I was watching him race. I still thought it would come down to me and Nico, which it did, but I knew what he was trying to do, and I really respected it.
It's pretty wild because the team race came down to a point.
Yeah, who won it?
Well, we think NAU on a tiebreaker.
Oh my God,
So
that's crazy.
If Nico had finished, or I guess if another guy, they needed those spots.
Yeah,
they needed
I'm
2
glad
or
they
3.
won because otherwise, I'm sure he would hate me forever. Just kidding. Nico's super nice as well.
You said there was some things popped up for your team. Like Cole Sprout, was he healthy? Because it seemed like he had an off day today.
Yeah, obviously, I can't really get into. If it was me, I'd tell you, but I can't really get into what other people are dealing with. But something along those lines. It's just we had pretty much a perfect season going up into the last couple of weeks, and it was just about dealing with that adversity, and I think we dealt with it really well. But obviously, you guys are going to be disappointed. But it's not over. Stanford XC is here to stay, and there'll be another year, and there'll be excellent guys running it, and I know Coach Santos has the team in great hands. So I'm not worried about it. We just got to rally from this, and I'm sure it's going to be okay.
So I know I saw you right before the 9K, and you guys were all still together. How did it break up over that last K?
Yeah, so we kind of were going over into that second patch of hills, and I could feel their kind of breakneck pace easing off a little bit every time he went uphill. And I prefer running uphill. I'm not as good as running downhill, so I kind of just led a natural surge. I finally stopped being patient, and I think it was on the second to last hill back there I took the lead, and they took it back. Then I waited a little bit, and on that last hill I kind of got to the top a little bit in front, and then just decided to start surging, and I could feel myself breaking away a little bit, and then I knew Nico was coming back because they were screaming, we need that point, we need that point. And so at that point, I kind of eased off the sprint a little bit, made sure I was going to have enough to finish the race fast because, I thought he was going to catch me either way, and ended up putting it all into that home stretch and getting the win.
What do you think of this finish here?
Oh, it's awesome. Coming over, seeing nobody in front of me, seeing the NCAA logo, on the ground, it was a surreal experience. I think this course is amazing just because of the way it kind of pushes people. I never really thought we could run that fast over this course. But yeah, I think it's great. I think it's super fun. I think it's super hard. And I think the more people run it, the better we're going to see, the better times we're going to see, over these next couple of years.
And I know March of 21, it was much warmer here. So today, were you guys at all, coming in today, knowing how cold it was going to be, did that have any impact at all on how you planned your race today?
Yeah, so we were trying to sort of think the exact opposite. Coach Santos, he said in the past, Stanford X cross country has gotten kind of a bad name for itself because people think, we get soft out in Palo Alto with the perfect weather. And, there's probably a little bit of truth to that. So I hope, the way I was able to perform today will dispel a little bit of that. But we're going to keep, trying to do it over the next couple of years and show people that we're tough.
You mentioned being up in Park City during the COVID. What was how long were you up there?
We were up there for about 3 months. It was kind of like the fall quarter when
2020.
Yeah. So it was we all went home. I was in Jacksonville, in that outdoor season where everything got shut down. Yeah. Then over summer, we were all still back home. I was still in Jacksonville. And then kind of for the entire fall quarter, for us academically, we were out there. It wasn't the whole team, but, we got some really good training in. It was where I met, Cole and Thomas. And it was kind of where we started pushing the envelope. And I think if you look at, the way I performed freshman year and the way that, all of us performed, back in 2021, you could see that it really paid off. And we've been trying to sort of keep that culture going since then.
Get warm. Get some.
Yeah.